King Eldric ruled the prosperous kingdom of Eldoria. The land was green and fertile. Rivers sparkled like jewels. People smiled, content and carefree. Eldric was a good and just king, always putting his people first. He listened to their woes, settled their disputes, and ensured peace and prosperity for all. Eldric lived in a grand castle, its towers reaching for the heavens, but he never shut himself away from his people. He walked among them, sharing their joys and sorrows. The king believed true leadership meant serving, not ruling. One sunny afternoon, as Eldric strolled through the market square, laughter filled the air. Children chased pigeons, their squeals echoing through the cobblestone streets. Merchants hawked their wares, their voices mingling in a cheerful symphony. It was a scene of perfect harmony, a testament to their beloved king. Yet, unknown to all, a shadow lurked on the horizon. A legend whispered through the ages, threatening to shatter their peaceful existence. It was the legend of Skalgaroth, the last dragon, and the ancient curse that bound him. Legend told of a magnificent dragon, Skalgaroth, who once soared through the skies. He breathed fire that could melt mountains and possessed scales tougher than any steel. However, Skalgaroth was not a fearsome beast. He was wise and benevolent, protecting the land and its people. But a wicked sorcerer, driven by greed and envy, tricked Skalgaroth. He ensnared the noble dragon with a powerful curse. The curse twisted Skalgaroth's heart, filling it with rage and despair. No longer a protector, Skalgaroth became a fearsome creature, feared by all. He was banished to the desolate peaks of Dragonspire, a towering mountain shrouded in perpetual storms. The curse dictated that every 100 years, Skalgaroth's rage would spill over, bringing devastation to the land. Only a selfless act of courage and compassion could break the curse. For generations, the legend of Skalgaroth had faded into myth. People dismissed it as a mere bedtime story, a cautionary tale told to frighten children. But King Eldric, a student of history and lore, knew better. He knew the legend held a terrifying truth. As the centenary of Skalgaroth's curse neared, a palpable fear settled over Eldoria. The skies darkened, and the air grew heavy with dread. Whispers of the dragon replaced the laughter in the marketplace. The joy that once filled Eldoria seemed to vanish overnight. The weight of his responsibility pressed heavily on Eldric's shoulders. He knew he couldn't ignore the looming threat. He had to act, to protect his people from the dragon's wrath. But how could a mere man hope to stand against a creature of such immense power? Eldric secluded himself in his study, poring over ancient texts and scrolls. He searched for any information about Skalgaroth, any clue on how to break the curse. Days turned into sleepless nights as he desperately sought a solution. Finally, he found it. A passage tucked away in a forgotten tome. It spoke of the dragon's heart, not as a vessel of fire and fury, but as a symbol of its true nature. The curse had corrupted its physical form, but deep down, Skalgaroth remained a creature of good. The key to breaking the curse lay in appealing to that innate goodness. Eldric knew what he had to do. He would journey to Dragonspire, face Skalgaroth himself, and appeal to the dragon's better nature. It was a perilous plan, fraught with dangers. His advisors pleaded with him to reconsider, urging him to send his bravest knights instead. But Eldric was resolute. He understood the true meaning of leadership. It wasn't about commanding from a position of safety. It was about leading by example, putting oneself on the line for the greater good. He would face the dragon, not with weapons and might, but with an open heart and a plea for peace. With a heavy heart but unwavering determination, King Eldric rode out of Eldoria. He left behind the safety of his castle, the comfort of his people, and the familiar warmth of his kingdom. Ahead of him loomed Dragonspire, a menacing silhouette against the storm-ridden sky. The journey was fraught with peril. The path was treacherous, winding through dense forests and across raging rivers. The air grew colder with each upward step, the wind biting with icy teeth. Yet, Eldric pressed onward, his resolve fueled by his love for his people. He encountered packs of snarling wolves, their eyes glowing menacingly in the twilight. He navigated treacherous cliffs, the ground crumbling beneath his horse's hooves. The elements testing his physical and mental fortitude. Through it all, Eldric never faltered. He drew strength from the faces of his people, their smiles etched into his memory. He reminded himself that his fear was insignificant compared to the burden of their safety. He was their king, their protector, and he would not fail them. As he climbed higher, the air grew thick with the sulphurous stench of dragon fire. The ground was littered with charred bones, a grim testament to Skalgaroth's power. Fear gnawed at the edges of Eldric's courage, but he pushed it down, clinging to his hope for a peaceful resolution. Fire and smoke lay the legendary dragon, Skal. His roar shook the very foundations of the mountain. Roared again, a sound of pure fury. Flames erupted from his nostrils, the heat scorching Eldric's face. Such as I, cursed to walk this earth in eternal torment. You are not a creature of torment, Skalgaroth, Eldric retorted, his voice firm despite the tremor in his heart. You are a creature of good, corrupted by a wicked curse. I can see it in your eyes. The pain, the longing for the noble beast you once were. Skalgaroth recoiled slightly, his fiery gaze flickering with surprise. For centuries he had known only fear and hatred from those who dared to approach him. To be met with such understanding, such compassion was unnerving. You speak with a boldness that belies your size, little king, Skalgaroth rumbled, his voice laced with suspicion. What do you know of my torment, of the curse that binds me? I know that you were once the protector of this land, not its destroyer, Eldric said, his voice echoing across the desolate landscape. I know that you are capable of great love and compassion, even now imprisoned by this curse. I believe that deep down, your heart yearns for freedom, for redemption. A low growl rumbled in Skalgaroth's chest, a mixture of anger and something akin to sadness. He had resigned himself to an eternity of loneliness and despair, his true nature buried beneath layers of pain and resentment. Yet this human, this insignificant speck of mortality, dared to see him, to acknowledge the heart that beat beneath the scales. Eldric continued, his voice carrying the weight of his conviction. I cannot break the curse alone, Skalgaroth, but together with courage and compassion we can find a way.